please welcome to the stage Ty Stimpson, board member and club alum, Boys and Girls Clubs of Greater Tarrant County.
Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Ty Stimpson, and today I'm going to teach you how to hold a conversation with anyone. But before we get started, I think it's important to know a little bit about my background and why this makes me qualified to stand before you all today and tell you how to hold a conversation with anyone. Well, first, this is my beautiful family. My mom, Linda, she's gorgeous. My dad, Carlton, my big sister, Tiffany, and my brother, Darrell. In this picture, my mom, growing up, was an ICU nurse. My father is a pastor of a big congregation, and my brother is also a pastor. But so is my grandfather, so is my aunt, so is my two cousins, so is another uncle, and two cousins not pictured. So one could say that ministry is kind of like the family business that I just didn't go into. But faith and family made a big part of my upbringing growing up. I sat and slept on a lot of pews, but more importantly, I had the opportunity to meet a lot of people. And meeting a lot of people in church, you kind of have to meet people where they're at. And so this helped me along with my youth sports. You may not be able to tell by looking at me today, but I was once a pretty good football player. I had the opportunity to play in college. Is there any Baylor Bears in the house? No, okay, well, sick 'em Bears to myself then. But between, church, sports, and growing up at the Cromer Branch Boys and Girls Club in Tarrant County, I developed what I like to call my superpower of being able to hold a conversation with anyone. And you're probably sitting there thinking, what's so special about being able to hold a conversation with anyone? It's just talking. I don't know why is that talent I need to have. Well, I'm glad you have that thought because I'm here to give you a little bit of insight about why it's important. Conversation is the catalyst of all human interactions, from talking to your family, talking to colleagues, talking to complete strangers. How someone feels after having a conversation with you can't get undone. There's still a guy that I had a conversation in third grade that I still don't talk to. But what makes a good conversation? Have you ever had a conversation like, man, that Jesus like pulling teeth, or that's 5 minutes I may never get back? Some of you are probably thinking that right now as you sit down. This is 5 minutes I'm never going to get back. But I'm going to give you a few tips on how to effectively have a conversation. Active listening. Be engaged in the conversation. Don't think about what you're going to say next or how you're going to respond, but actively listen to what's being said. It helps you develop other topics of what to talk about, but it also helps build mutual interests and similarities. Despite what people say or think, we have more in common than we do differently. By actively listening, you can listen and pick up on things that you have shared experiences or interests to help to move the conversation along. But also be intentional. Have you ever been in a conversation where it's kind of awkward and it doesn't really have a direction? You're kind of standing there like Steve Harvey at the Miss America pageant. It's awkward. And so here's a few factors on how you can have effective conversations. Ask lots of questions. Smile. Make good eye contact. Give compliments. I've never had a conversation with a person that can say, man, I really like that dress, or you have some really nice shoes. Prepare topics beforehand. F.O.R.D is the best in Texas, but it's also an acronym. Family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. These are topics that you can use if you can't think of something to talk about that can help it move a conversation forward. But what not to do? Don't come on too strong. No one ever likes the person that comes on too strong. Avoid controversial topics like religion, politics. Try not to interrupt, but also know when to end the conversation. That's just as important of being able to hold an effective conversation. Now, let's put this to the test. Gentlemen with the hat, how would you go about holding a conversation with the lady on the screen right now?
I'd ask her how her day is going.
What are some other things you might do?
Excuse me?
What's some other things you might do?
Ask her about her job, what she does.
And just like that, you just became best friends with Beyonce by being able to ask these types of questions and engage in a conversation with her. And so little things like that can help move a conversation forward. Now, I was been afforded a lot of opportunities just by merely holding a conversation, like working at Liz Claiborne. My first legal job was at the NFL, all because of conversation, not because I submitted a resume or an application, but by far my greatest feat by being able to hold a conversation. I was able to marry a supermodel. That is what I call being able to effectively hold a conversation and have good game. But this can be you too if you take what I've taught you today and effectively hold a conversation. Now, if you remember, I said one of the important things to do is knowing when to end a conversation. Thank you.
Please welcome to the stage Divisional Director and Chief Executive Officer for this evaluation,